like to imagine God's response to our laughter quite similar to our response to a baby's laugh. I just don't know if there is a sound in all the world that is as wonderful as a baby's laugh. The video of that little girl laughing as the dog is catching popcorn treats, that just, I don't know, it warms my heart. It makes me want to laugh. I find myself unrationally drawn in to her happiness as she giggles and laughs and the dog jumps. A dog jumping for popcorn treats is not that funny, but watching that little baby find so much joy in that moment, wow, it just lifts my spirits. It makes me want to laugh too. But see, here's the thing. To get a giggle, an actual giggle out of us adults, sometimes takes a lot of work. It seems that we are fortified against laughter sometimes. And the walls of our fort are built out of disappointment, disease, loneliness, the daily news. Sometimes we think that we must get through the serious stuff of life before we can actually laugh. Now, this is a mistake I regularly make with Keith. Keith is always, it seems like, ready with a joke or doing something silly to make me laugh. Some of you have seen the picture in my office of the two of us making that funny face. That pretty much sums up our life, our relationship. But see, here's what happens. We have this nightly routine of getting home in time to watch at least one episode of The Big Bang Theory. And it's just like one of our favorite shows. And it makes us laugh. It doesn't matter if we've seen that particular episode 3 times already. It still makes us laugh. But I have this voice inside of me, this inner voice that says, there's work to be done. You need to get in the kitchen and start getting dinner together. Or you need to switch out the laundry. Or you need to, oh, you didn't even unload the dishwasher yet. So there's that voice inside of me that's always pushing me. And if I'm not careful about monitoring that voice, it doesn't take long and I'll hear Keith. Julie, for goodness sake, will you just please come sit down and rest just a minute? And I have to tell that inner voice, you know what? All that stuff I need to do will still be there in 30 minutes. And it's not going to change the world if I sit down. It's not going to change the world for the worse if I go sit down and relax for a few minutes and enjoy some laughter. It might actually make things a little better, right? So, how do we get to the point of allowing ourselves to laugh? Because if you think about it, I believe we are actually starved for laughter amidst this serious stuff of life. We even take our prayers, our worship, our meditation so seriously that sometimes we forget to laugh. We forget to make that joyful noise. We go about in service, but we forget to do that service with gladness. The psalmist describes us as the sheep of God's pasture. See, I think the psalmist is giving us a clue about how we can incorporate laughter back into our lives. The sheep of God's pasture. I don't know how you feel about that description, but for me, it's rather humbling to think of myself as a silly sheep. I mean, think about it for a moment. Can you imagine yourself as a sheep? When I let that picture, that image come into my mind, I imagine myself kind of lazily wandering about, a nice chubby sheep with lots of wool, munching on grass, or maybe sometimes kind of frolicking like you would see in the Bugs Bunny cartoons, the little sheep kind of bouncing around on all four paws at the same time, playing. Of course, that's not to say that dangers do not come, right? Dangers do come. There are the storms of illness, the wolves of violence, famines of insecurity. These are real threats. But see, if we allow our fears and our worries to overwhelm us, to consume us, so much so that we take everything so seriously that we forget to find joy in life, then we are actually putting ourselves at a greater risk. We end up running around in our worries and in our anxiety, getting separated from the shepherd, getting separated from one another. Yes, the dangers are real, but so is the love and care of God. Remember, it is not the sheep that protect themselves from the wolves. It is the job of the shepherd. We are never alone in what we face. And that is certainly reason enough to have a glad heart. It's not to say bad things won't happen when we fully trust in God. They still will. But we're not alone in that suffering. So I don't know what it is that might be your challenge at this time, what suffering might be in your life. But know that you're not alone in it, and that it's okay to laugh. May we each find time this week to put laughter into our conversations, into our time with God. Amen. I invite you to join with me now in our prayer for healing. God, you knit us together in the womb and know each and every part of us. You call us by name and breathe life into our fragile bodies. You declare that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We need to know this, Holy One. We as individuals, as a community, as a nation, need to hear and know how much you love us. We need to open our hearts to understand that you need us to love one another. Empower us, O God, with your grace, peace, and love to bless, forgive, and serve others. Heal us in body, mind, and spirit, that we may be united as one. Amen.